Could be painful. Okay, live stream. Now there we go. Okay, Facebook live stream.
So many things going on.
Okay, Taryn, you are. So we are live on Facebook and live on YouTube or something? No, huh? Just live on Facebook.
Just Facebook.
Facebook. We put the replay.
Now there we go. Okay, Facebook live stream. Well, just live on Facebook.
Just Facebook.
Cool. Florida is there. Then we have Malaysia. Wow. Serbia. Ooh. So Trinidad. That's amazing. People from all over Slovenia, from all
from
over
Italy.
Hello.
Yes. Silvia from Italy.
Wow.
Thanks to Stefano.
Stefano and also from India. Wow. Quite something. Probably at least 30 countries.
We're global.
Some serious stuff. Okay, cool.
Okay, the moment we hit 100, we start.
Yeah, well, let's wait another 30 seconds. Cool. Yeah, we're almost there. 5 more till 100. Actually, it should be 108. It's a kind of a sacred number in India, so maybe we'll wait until 108. Yeah.
Okay, 108. Come on, guys.
108.
Let's do 108.
We are 97.
99.
99. We're not counting down. We are counting up. So we are 99. Oh yeah.
100 is not happening.
No. This is.
Come on.
Here we go.
100. There we go. 101.
This is also a nice number.
Yeah. Let's start with 101. That's fine. Cool. Max, you want to do a little intro or?
Maybe Taryn, you do the intro and then I take over because we have a little surprise.
Okay. Ooh, you got a surprise?
Yeah, not really. Just
Awesome. Well, welcome everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in to this second training session. I know this is such an eagerly and sought after training session that we have in Healy, and of course we have the wonderful Michael Danz, who is so marvelous at explaining things and training on it for us. Yeah, you are. This is a super popular session because everyone is just so eager to understand how to really use their coaching models. And so today it's going to be an exciting session with Michael and Max as they go through you're going to do a live coaching? Is that possible? What's happening?
Yes, so yeah.
Exactly. That's why I already sent him my stuff so he can fix me right here because I need a lot of fixing.
You need a lot of fixing. So right here, right now, we're about to find out the deep inner workings of Max Glockner and how we can fix this man.
How we can fix this guy.
All right, guys, you can take it away now. And
thank you so much.
Yeah, Michael.
Yeah, I guess we go ahead. Huh? We fix the unfixable, Max, which is okay. Let's say something about this. Usually, life is always is a bit more challenging since so many people are looking at you or us. Now we are on 109, so we actually above the threshold. That's
got the 108 though.
We made it. Yeah, because we wanted to do this time maybe more of a live coaching that you also see the relevance and you get a bit of feedback of what Max is saying and how he's reflecting things back. Obviously, we will touch most probably some sensitive stuff, so he will not disclose everything about his private life. He doesn't need to. He will only disclose whatever he feels comfortable with, which is okay. That's how it works, because the real coaching session is one-on-one, because then you can just put the cards on the table and then it's even more intimate and deep. However, just to give a good example for you guys how you do the coaching on a very personal example, we chose Max and we thought about what could be a good area.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, you just tell your situation. Go ahead.
I mean, it's still challenging for me because I'm not really rooted, you know, like I feel like I'm all over the place. I'm having a million different things I can focus on. And I feel like what is really missing for me is having roots, somewhere feeling home, somewhere feeling stable, somewhere have a base emotionally, but also personal relationships, building that from a rooted place. And right now I'm in Dubai. Actually, I partly live here, but I'm not really living here. I partly live in Poland, but I'm not really living there. So I think I need a little bit of guidance and understanding about myself, like where is it actually where I should, you know, find myself better in being more efficient and productive in what I do, also for my career, my finances, my path. And I feel like the roots are an essential part that is not really available for me right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, ever since I know you, you were quite on the run. You're always traveling here and there, but there's also your nature. Some people have this, you know, they're just going around from country to country, place to place. It's part of the nature. However, it's always good to have some sort of a home base at some point to kind of have at least have a chance to settle down somewhere, because the more you settle down at one place, the more fruitful the results will be in that place to come. There's a nice saying, if you want to dig a well, you go deep on one point rather than to dig here and there a little bit, there will be no water. But if you dig deep on one place, then water will come and you will be successful with what you're looking for. So that in mind, I thought I just switched maybe to my Healy, because I've already prepared everything. Let me share my screen with you guys. So then, oh, you have to, I need to be the co-host. Otherwise I can't share my screen. And then, oh, we already with 132 people are 33 people are joining in.
Now you host.
Okay, cool. So let me do, what was it? Let me do this one. You guys see this now? You see the Healy, huh? That should be good, huh? Oh no, you don't see the Healy, right? That was the wrong one. Let me see again. There you go. Do you see now my Healy?
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
We see it. Muni.
Taryn, can you make me two co-hosts too, so I can mute some of the people who come in? I help you with that.
Yeah, cool. So I have already put Max in as a client beforehand, so to make it a bit easier. So he's already in. By the way, this is like, so this is live. As you see, this is my system. That's the Healy, that's the Timewaver. So whatever I'm doing on my mobile phone is what you see right now on the screen live. We choose Max as a client. Obviously, I'm going into the analysis. Max, I chose this picture somewhere or other. You know, I took this one somewhere. I hope you're fine with that.
Okay.
That's a good one, huh? You're still a bit younger on that one.
Right?
Good.
It was 6 months ago.
Yeah, 6 months ago.
You see what happened?
Yeah. To put it in a focus, you know, because as we said last time, the focus text has to be very clear and has to be precise to, you know, the optimum where you want to go, what you want to achieve. So I thought of a focus text like, I plan routes and create a sustainable and fruitful emotional and financial reality. I guess that's a very precise one. Yeah? It touches the part of emotions, because you also, you know, like relationship wise, partnership wise, but it also touches the career aspect of a financial sustainable reality, right? So I'll put that in. I planned routes and create a sustainable and fruitful emotional and financial reality. I guess this is good. That's a good one, because it covers both aspects. Huh? It covers a bit the partnership, but it also covers a bit where to go career-wise. I guess that's a good one. And you see, when you type in that focus text, the client has to be able to identify with it. Not that me as a coach, I put it in and then I want him to go in a certain direction, but actually it has to mostly come from him. So prior to this, we were just chatting on WhatsApp, and then he would, you know, and then I would propose this to him, and he would say, yes, that's a good focus we can, you know, take. Right. So that's a good one. Never put in things like I would like to, or it would be nice if, or, you know, in the future I'd like to have, or something. There should be no doubts in the way you put the focus window to fill in the focus window. It should be very clear, and you should be like single-minded. You should be really focused and without any doubts. Also try to avoid negative expressions, such as, you know, I would be nice to have no pain, you know, because or even pain-free. because there's still the word pain in. So you would rather really try to bring it in the most positive form. So if you, let's say you have pain in your back, then you would put in my back is strong and stable, like that, instead of my back is pain-free. So you would really make it into a very positive statement. And then we continue with the database selection. So now, as I did already the last time, I usually take from many categories simultaneously. I'm not just sticking to one. So the first one would be career, obviously, because this is something we want to see, you know, where he's going or what's next on the agenda for him. Maybe what is good is to resolve stress factors in profession, because there might be something in the field which is causing him in some ways stress, so that he is financially not getting fully independent or sustainable as he wants. Self-assertion and self-confidence. I think you are a confident person. I don't think you need support in this area. So I would skip that. This is also one way of using Healy Coach. You skip things you intentionally or intuitively feel is not matching and the person doesn't need. Obviously, I know Max a bit personally, so therefore I can say this. If you don't know the person you're doing a coaching session with, you might, you know, have to try a bit out. But talents is also actually also not, because you know your talents, you know where you're good at, and I also know that you know that. So let's just stick with the first one in the area career. I guess emotional balance is also interesting, the second category, because balance that goes in the relationship part. To be able to be, you know, balanced also means to plant roots, and then from this a balance could be established. So I will have emotional harmony. I'll take one of this. Energy and power, not living consciously, is maybe also good. That means, like, what do you have to additionally focus on in order to achieve emotional balance? Family relationships, let's have a look. Boundaries and team spirit, dissolving imprints, ancestral claims, harmonizing areas of life. That sounds good. Let's take the last one, because it could be a certain area which needs your special attention to focus on. Finances, let's go on the next one. Identifying focus, that's a good one, because that is a focus you should have in order to get financially sustainable and independent. Personal responsibility is also good. Profession we will skip, because I guess, you know, like the database profession is rather for those who want to change, you know, their profession and want to move into
identify area. Focus is super important, because there's so many things to focus on right now.
Now that's the thing, exactly. Like you have to have a proper priority list.
Right.
So then we have goals. Goals is goal alignment and intent. That's perfect, because alignment means to bring it all to one point. What's really important? What's the priority? What's the best intent? Resolving motivational disorders. I don't think you have motivation disorders. You are motivated. You just need to know in which area or how to channel properly your motivation. So I wouldn't say you have a blockage in, you know, being able to motivate yourself. Stress factor could be, because there is maybe something in the field which causes stress, so that you cannot maybe make the decision you want to have. So we take that as well. Personal relationships, let's see, finding partner, probably not. Self-love and altruism. I guess you're in a relationship, so we are not about finding a partner. That's fine. Self-love and altruism means the proper balance between how much do I give to the partner and how much do I stay true to myself. You know, where's the boundary of, I guess that's important. So we'll take that one in.
Yeah.
We'll take that one in. Then we have potentials. Let's see, individual qualities, personal strength, personality aspects. That is good, because that is, again, which personality aspect do you need in order to create a sustainable and fruitful emotional and financial reality that we need. And then self-worth, let's have a look at that as well. basis of self-esteem. You have proper self-esteem. That's not an issue. This category would not apply for us. So let's go for social relationships. I guess that is boundaries and team spirit. That's an important one, because this is, again, how much do I stretch myself in order to be there for others, and how much do I set the boundaries for myself. Therefore, also personal integrity and
self-love and altruism here is the same database.
Yeah, it's the same database. We use the same database for both categories, just because they fit in both categories. So therefore, you have a double database right now here. And then one in spirituality, because you also want to know, maybe there's a spiritual hint you should have or get in order to accomplish that goal. Cool. Look at this. This is quite a list. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have more than 10. Actually, it is a bit too much, to be honest. You know, I would normally not take so many. However, we do it now just so that we have a variety from which we can choose. And also that we have a variety where we can later maybe say we delete this or that, because there are a few in which are super important and there are a few in which are kind of secondary important, so we wouldn't focus much on them. Cool. Max, while I am now hitting start, you again emotionally focus with your or connect emotionally to your focus, which was, again, I plant roots and create a sustainable and fruitful emotional and financial reality. Let's go. There we go. Okay, cool. Well, that was a long analysis. And you see, is always a good time to really get into the meditative mood, because, again, we have this principle, mind over matter. So whatever we focus on specifically while we do the analysis is influencing the quality of the results. So the more you guys focus on, especially emotionally, you connect with the focus emotionally, like the stronger the bond is you have with the focus while the analysis, the more profound or the more direct and specific the results will be. Cool. So let's see. You know what? I'll usually go for the yeah, okay. Maybe we just go a bit through from top to bottom. And then we see, or maybe I sort again by the potency in descending order. That was actually good, because again, we want to find out cause effect principles on the one side. This is what we usually, let's say, this is one way of interpreting the results. To find cause effect principles means D and C potencies primarily. That is the best and the easiest structure to interpret a list. There are more structures in some other webinar. We might even come up with a bit more of a complicated one, but we stick with this more simple way of interpreting for now. So the first thing is finances. Finances, personal responsibility. I practice personal responsibility. I am responsible for my own decisions. That is that's a good one, because that's actually the key point, as you see. It's a key point because it is the lowest D potency. The other D potencies are quite high. There are like 1 exponent 24, which means this is like very, in a homeopathic sense, you would say it's highly diluted. So it's not so tangible anymore. The D 100,000 is the most tangible one, and the one Max could most probably easiest identify. So I'm responsible for my own decision means like in a way, he has made the decisions. You have made the decisions, so you cannot really blame somebody else. That for sure, because you have that.
Actually, also, you know, I tend to look for easy way out. You know, I tend to look for easy things, especially also financially, you know, to make financial decisions. And there's always like things come up that there's opportunities, you know, to invest money, to make money, and so forth, right? And oftentimes, like for example, like I am also invested in cryptocurrency, right?
Yeah,
and
me too.
oftentimes I'm just listening to what people say, and I tend to invest too quick by not doing my own research, but just trusting and knowing and feeling, okay, let's do this, instead of really doing my own research, my own decisions, and actually make money because I made the right decision, because I oftentimes lost money in the past to the wrong ideas.
Me too.
And I think this is really, I'm every day in this topic of looking at my investments and this and that. So I think like it's really like I am responsible for my own decisions. So I need to actually do my own work as well, my own homework of finding the right ways and the right decisions for my financials. Definitely
very good. Yeah, that's a very good point. And because it's a deep potency, it's quite a materialized issue. Like you feel it. This is a thing, you know, like let's say if we turn it around, if you would do a proper research and you would inform yourself properly, then the outcome would maybe not so unstable, or you don't have to be in anxiety and stressed out about where's the money going, is it profitable, is it not profitable, do I lose again, do I win? Obviously, if you invest in cryptocurrency and stuff, this is always a little bit of an up and down, and things go here and there. There are different strategies, but you are right. A proper research, or you trust the proper source. That can also be. Like if you really have a person who is a millionaire and he became millionaire by investing the money in something, then you could in a way half blindly trust that person. However, if you just pick up certain information and then the outcome is not as you want, then the responsibility lies entirely with you.
Either way, I'm responsible for my own decision. And if the decision was a bad decision, I cannot blame anybody outside. It's my decision, right? So definitely.
That's a good one. Yeah. So that's of course another one. We have, I experience balanced awareness, acceptance, and harmonious integration of the following personality aspect. Forbidding part. That's an interesting one. Is a forbidding part. So anything is possible at any time. I allow the previously impossible to happen. The purity, clarity, and quality of my thought power determines what is real in my reality. Well, that's a good one. That implies that there are areas you feel this is kind of forbidden, you don't want to go into. However, if you know, because it says anything is possible at any time, whatever you think is not possible becomes possible by the proper amount of purity, clarity, and quality in your thought power. So basically, Healy is telling you, you can go off track, also die Pfade verlassen, die man normalerweise geht, auf gut Deutsch, means you can try out new paths in life, to think outside of the box. And even in an area where you feel like, oh, I better don't go there, like this is like, it feels a bit forbidden or impossible, then still with the certain amount of purity, clarity, and quality of thoughts, you should actually go new paths, specifically in the financial and emotional area.
Okay.
So now in a coaching dialogue, we would like think about next step. What are potential new paths? And then you would maybe make a little list and you would say like, okay, I always thought this is not a good idea, but anyway, I tried this one. I now, you know, go into this area. Maybe I invest differently, or I have another friend who, anyway, he wanted to present to me another idea. Maybe I listen to this guy like this. This is an invitation to think outside the box.
For me, it makes sense in business wise, you know, of creating a little bit my own self, you know. And I think for me, the forbidden part, I just shared it openly, is a little bit like worrying too much about what people could think about me. You know, for example, like if I want to start a podcast, you know, which I'm really thinking about, you know, doing a podcast and you know, and share value and share experience and so forth. I'm scared that people think like who he thinks he is. What is his ego? Like, why is he doing, like, who he think he's better? Like, these are the thoughts I have. And for me, it's forbidden to be better than anybody else. You know, that's why I don't like to talk so highly about myself. And I feel like this is maybe in my way as well. So this one gives me a little bit of, okay, anything is possible. I allow the previously impossible to happen. I can do it if I have a pure intention by doing this, and I'm clear on my way, on my path of what I want to share out there. Then I don't really, it doesn't matter if 1 out of 100 person thinks like, who is this guy? You know, what is he doing? What is he talking about? So it's something is blocking me. I know that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very good point. And I mean, let's say being humble at the same time does not mean to have a low self-esteem. Because sometimes people are mixing this up, but they think like, oh, if somebody is a humble and a gentle person, that means he has a low self-esteem. But that is not necessarily, that's not going side by side. Somebody can be super humble, but he has a proper self-esteem at the same time. And the key to resolve this actually lies in the next one, because the focus, how you should accomplish whatever podcast or whatever you have a goal, is in your gentleness. And that is a very powerful one, because the gentleness in the sense, you know, because you are a gentle person. I can say this because I know your reasons many years. You have a very good, like you have good heart. You are a gentle being, or a gentleman, as they say. So therefore, you know, if that aspect of your personality is in the forefront of your financial and emotional activities, people will, you know, they have no problem with you. They can easily forgive you. They, you know, they will not holding anything against you, because you are a kind person. So that supports whatever you have already. And with gentleness and kindness, you can conquer the world without a problem.
Super. Yeah. Amazing. I think as long as, again, if the intention is pure, and doing the right thing, what can happen? You know, it's always like when you listen to your heart and doing the thing your heart is telling you, and have a good intention of creating more value, helping people, then you're always on the right path.
Exactly. And you are not just, you know, like for you, I know you, like interpersonal qualities are more important than just making money. So you need to have a good relationship with people you work together. You need to have, you know, kind and gentle networks, and then you're functioning, because that's just your nature. So this is a key to success. Key to success is this gentleness. So that's actually good. It's a confirmation for who you already are. Plus, if you build that, or if you go on with this, then you'll be actually quite successful. So the next course, you could say, and we are now not so much going into course. I thought we would rather stick to course effect principles, but just to read through and to see where it makes sense is also very beautiful. So the next one is, you live in personal integrity. So I live in personal integrity. My words and behavior are in alignment, in agreement. You would rather say in alignment. I am able to recognize when a person has integrity, and I can trust him. So this is a very good point, because this is actually, that's in my eyes a crucial point, because that literally means you walk what you talk. That's how they say in English. You walk what you talk. Your words and your behavior is in alignment, because this is what we see a lot in this time we live. People say something, but they do differently. They promote themselves, they present themselves in a certain way, but then this is not identical with what they do and how they act in the world. You know, you just see this whole politician, you know, I mean, that's the way politics works. You just have you just have an advertisement. You just promise your country whatever you would do. Once you are elected and you are in the proper position, you're just bound by whatever, you know, the laws of the party, and then you cannot do anymore. But still, the promises come. So I, you know, sometimes read stories from very old time, from the old Indian time, where you had kings like Maharajas. And the one quality of a qualified king was that he would exactly walk what he would talk, and he would teach by his example. So he would only demand certain things from somebody if he himself would actually properly embrace the same principle.
Yeah, and here in this example, I think it's also just a really good reminder to listen to intuition, you know, and feeling, like, especially by meeting people, like new people, knowing who's good for you, who's not good for you. And I feel like, especially since Healy came to my life and so many other people's life, we are way more able to feel in and recognize what energy is actually, you know, resourceful for us, what is like more like a parasite energy. And I think this is just a reminder, especially now in Dubai, where you have a lot of money, a lot of talks, a lot of bullshit. It's very important to listen to your intuition sometimes and look through the bullshit and understand what could be good or maybe dangerous for you.
It's true. And also when you choose your business partners, then this point also comes into play, because you see, I'm able to recognize when a person has integrity. That means when a person is talking what he's walking, or walking what he's talking. So that means you should specifically look at how like how authentic, or how much is that person living this integrity of, he says something but then he is also doing the same thing. So you should kind of align with those people who are expressing this principle, actually.
Maybe just quickly to say, add something here. What I feel very much, and for everybody who's doing the coaching on other people, it's very important to put yourself into the right state with the person you're coaching, because obviously Muni and I, we have like amazing interactions now to every point, right? There's a lot of openness from my side, you know. So I think one of the most important points after setting the focus and the strong and stable intention is really being in rapport with that person, understanding, hey, be open for what the things that are coming right now, and be able to interpret them together with me. I think this is really, really helpful in order to have a really resourceful session if we do so.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And also, like, it's also not easy in front of 150 people to kind of be an open book. So this is also, it speaks for you that you want and you can do this. This is not what everybody would actually do. So it's actually very cool. So the next point is an emotional harmony. I guess this is going a little bit in the partnership area, because it says, like, I recognize unconscious causes or reasons that lead me to prevent or hinder others from expressing their feelings. So that is going a bit into the partnership, and the description says, I allow other people freedom and personal responsibility in expressing and living out their own feelings. You could say peaceful coexisting emotionally. So whenever you have the feeling like you are could also be business partners, not just relationship wise, but also business partners, when you know that you give them the proper space to express their feelings, to allow them to be there emotionally fully. That is
it's interesting. No, because we also had I had with my girlfriend a discussion today. You know, every time we have something negative to say about each other, is very, not negative, you know, but more like feedback. It's very tough to express yourself in a way that is not hurting to the other people, but accepting the feedback. And then, you know, see it like as a relationship should be a mirror, right? And I'm allowed now to be the mirror for my girlfriend and telling her, look, there's something like this, and I can see that, I can tell that about yourself. But the way I express it oftentimes is more manipulative, you know, in saying it in a way that I want her to change this way, instead of reminding her like, hey, there's something that I observed about, right? So it's actually recently, it happened like three hours ago that I did something manipulative. So
yeah, that's a good point. And also expressing feelings, like, is always good in a relationship to not point the fingers so much on the other person, like, I don't like you because of this, but to rather stay also true to your own feelings in a way like, you know, if you do this to me, I feel in this and in such a way. This is rather better than to say that something is wrong with you, but it's better to say, like, when you do this, then I feel in this and that way, because this is your right to express your feeling, and this is your right to say how you feel about certain things. And for her as well, she has the right to say how she feels in a certain situation. So it's good by arguing to stay with oneself and not to point the finger too much onto the other person, but say like, hey, this is how I feel in this situation. And this is an authentic, integrative way.
Actually, yeah, there's actually more to it. It has something to do with the moving to Dubai. Right. But it's for me a reminder, actually. Let's go through this, because it's also like a session for the other people. But I got a good point, because I'm manipulating actually to move to Dubai, because I don't want to be in wintertime in Poland. Simple as that. So it's more me talking right now.
Yeah. You're done, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So that's a good thing. And now the next thing is interesting. It says now we're actually through with D and C. So we have D potencies, C potencies. There was just one question coming in the chat. Sometimes there is a description and sometimes there's not a description. That is true, because some databases need further explanation, because, you know, to give more of a detailed explanation in what way to interpret the results. However, some things are already quite clear without a further description. Therefore, sometimes you have description and sometimes you might not have description, or you don't need descriptions. Shall we go through a few questions? Oh no. Okay, let me just do the last thing, because then we can maybe go through a few questions.
Maybe one thing again, I think it's very important to remind everybody. So we did the D potency, and that stands for cause, right?
Exactly. The D potencies are the cause. And the main cause was actually the first one, which is like to take back the responsibility for your own actions. So if you take this fully back, then all the rest will in a way fall into place. However, a C potency is then this is then what comes out. That is then the effect, to not be properly able to express the feelings, maybe suppressing and blocking feelings. So then that would be a way to note down in what areas you feel your feelings are blocked, specifically in the relationships like this. So it comes out then in a C potency as a cause effect principle. And the LM are kind of, you would say, hints around. They are background information which give further explanations about these cause effect principles, like the feeling of I am sucked dry. Ich bin ausgesaugt, würde man sagen in German. So that means you feel like, you know, there's energy loss. There's not enough energy because you're traveling here and there, you being in Dubai, then in Poland, then here. So you feel like you don't have enough, like you feel kind of dried out.
It is actually, it's interesting remembering the focus, you know. Now financial was the first one, being responsible for my own decisions. I thought about financial just about investments, but also financial can also be a financial future, building up wherever I am right now, right? I make this decision very much depending on the people around me right now, of where to be and in what place I feel the most, where I can be the most resourceful. So actually it's very, very clear defined right now that I have to actually make my own decisions. And I need to be more open and receptive in the discussions what I have with the people around me who make it, you know, who are part of this decision. And then eventually, like right now, what I do is I feel sucked out. You know, I feel sucked out by too many opinions, too many things, too many ideas come to me, and not being able to see clearly with a sharp focus of what I want to do.
True. Yeah. So that's exactly the way. So you feel sucked out, but at the same time, you know, you also, and that's the last thing we want to maybe go through. The next one is that you feel this inner pressure, like you have to come up with something. You have to now, you know, you have to manifest something. So this is a bit of a stress factor, which is within yourself regarding job. So it means that's regarding your financial situation, that you feel like, you know, now things have to happen. Things have to manifest.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of an inner pressure. It's not so strong, you know, the intensity is on 3. So that is not as like super strong, but there is a thing of, okay, you feel like a Torschusspanik in German. That means like you feel you need to now quickly come up with something. And that stress you could work on to like really, you know, become more equipoised, to let it go in a way. Let's trust that things will fall into place properly.
Like understand. Yeah, makes completely sense. It's a stressful situation right now too many things happening right now. I feel like, why not just traveling and again another year, another 2 years, just flow. All right, super. Maybe
I do have a link I just want to share with all of you guys. There is a link I'm just putting in from the Healy Academy. This is a link where you find all the training videos in English on that page. So you guys can, for all of you who do not know that link, I just put it in the chat so that you guys can go through all these videos where we also go through certain examples and explain a bit how to interpret the intensity, potency, and stuff like the background knowledge. Please go on those pages.
Super, super. I think you can stop sharing your screen, but click vibrate. Send me all these positive, great, you know.
It is.
Why are we doing it? But I think this was a beautiful, amazingly good illustration of life coaching. And I think Muni, you interpreted so amazingly well. What I learned for sure is you gotta be in the right state, situation, and rapport with a person. They need to be open in order to receive, because just, for example, showing somebody a Healy who has never had a Healy before and doesn't really know, understanding whatever, and putting it in the hand and do the coaching, and then just expecting this person to be open and vulnerable and see all these things, I think it's very, very difficult. So maybe it needs to be a little bit of a different approach with a little bit more guidance and receptiveness of that person than before we start doing the coaching. But when we do the coaching, I mean, Muni is now in Germany, I'm in Dubai. He didn't scan me. He put his intention very straight on me, my face, my details, my datum, my birth of date, and my name. And I think it was super accurate. You know, really, it's so accurate, exactly of what's happening right now in my life, no matter if financial or decisions where to move in relationship wise and whatsoever. I think it was very, very clear. For me personally, super helpful. I hope for you guys, it's also very helpful to see this really in a live demonstration. Great, Muni. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Max. I guess, you know, like this is like a, you know, we could fill more time, but you see in half an hour, 45 minutes, you have quite an accurate landscape about, you know, your emotional and financial life. Usually what I use to do when I have real clients, I would send that list as a PDF, because you can generate a PDF. Besides sending the list and vibrating it, you would also create a PDF, send that PDF to the customers, and then let them pick out 1, 2, or maximum 3 main entries so that they can really, you know, contemplate upon and also meditate to not just, you know, okay, that was a session in the past, but that they also, you know, while Healy is sending, they become actively engaged in that awareness process. That's actually very important.
How would you define that? Like, in case somebody here gets a question and says like, okay, now I'm pushing vibrate, and the client asks the question like, what's happening right now? How would you define that? If somebody's broadcasting frequency, how would you say what's happening right now when you go through?
Yeah, that's a good idea. You know, if you send or if you vibrate with Healy or Timewaver respectively, then what we call this an acausal optimization. That means, you know, how the effect of the optimization will take place is actually acausal, like you cannot really say. Means the weakest spot will kind of become harmonized, and then the next. I give you an example. Somebody might have a problem in whatever, in his personal relationship. However, then you start with ascending, and then he all of a sudden loses his job. So he thought like, but what does the job have to do with the personal relationship? But actually the job was the weakest spot which needed optimization first for him in order to come closer to the real issue. So therefore, it's not like a causal relationship in terms of I click this and exactly that will happen, but I vibrate, and then it's a well-timed and a let's say, leveled optimization. Means Healy will find the weakest spot and will start optimizing from that point onwards. And then, like an onion peel principle, you could say, you know, once the first layer is gone, then we come closer to the core issue.
Super. Like cool. Awesome. Taryn, you want to come back in? I know, Muni, you have to go in 5 minutes, but I think this is...
Well, Taryn, there she is.
Hi. Oh, Yeah, I mean, I guess I just, obviously I know Max really well. I've traveled with him, worked with him, lived with him for a little while during COVID. And watching that, I was like, that is so accurate from, my outside perspective of viewing Max. So it was quite amazing. And it's such an incredible tool that we have to be able to share and get that deep insight and that deeper understanding. And you can see even with Max right now, how much he's in a conflict and how much that really helps somebody work through that inner conflict. What a powerful tool we all have in our hands. And, obviously, thank you, Max, for being so open and for, being the servant leader that you are by sharing yourself so generously and your emotions so generously. And Michael, of course, for taking Max through that. I think it's just been so powerful for everybody to see a real live coaching session really happen with, somebody that they all really know as well. So
yeah, thank you so much. Let me just add one last thing, because the question comes also up, like, how is about vibration and optimization? You do not all the time have to vibrate the list. Just by becoming aware and talking about it, this is already, you would say, the therapy. This is how things start to change. In some cases, you would just go through the list, and then in the dialogue, things already, starts falling into new structures, and the client usually becomes aware, and then he's or she is anyway putting things in motion. However, in most of the cases, you also send the list additionally. And because the question came up, like how long and how often, and there we have this, there's another video at the Online Academy. If this is something, let's say Max is suffering from since a long time, then also the sending would be longer. So you would do this for a couple of days or weeks, and you would have like a 2 minutes 49 seconds of sending, per sending. However, if it's a more of a pressing right now problem, then a few days would be enough. And then you just have this 1 minute and 20-second interval. You do it a couple of times a day. And then in feedback with the client, you see what has changed and how things change. And then at times you might need to have a following up session. That is
would you say the same applies to the aura analysis?
Aura analyzes also, yeah. The aura is more of a fluid system, is even more fluid than, let's say, the emotions, because emotional and mental structures, they in some way are more rigid than, the chakra or the energy distribution in the chakras. So you have quicker results by doing something with the chakras, rather than with more rigid mental blockages and stuff. So with the aura lists, you could even, with less sending, you would have already quite a good effect. Like this.
All right, good, Muni. I think.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. I guess it was. Look, we already broke. Oh, there's 150. Very good. Wow, there's so many people coming in. Thanks a lot for having me. There will be more sessions coming. Actually, I guess next week there's a German. I'll do a German Frequency Friday for all of you guys who are good in German. Should just be part of that.
Super. Awesome, guys. Hey, thank you so much, Muni, for being here, doing this again. Thank you for everybody on the call. Beautiful. We will record this one. It's on Evolve right now, the Facebook group live streamed. It will also be on YouTube. You can find the link then also from the Evolve group. So if everybody want to watch it again or send it to some people later, we have it on YouTube by tomorrow probably. Okay, then I would say
thank you so much. Have a wonderful time.
And Max, it seems like you should be doing this podcast like we've been telling you for a year.
Yeah, you should definitely do podcasts. You are good.
That's why I need a podcast. I need your microphone though.
I'll send you mine.
Yes, done. Thank you, guys. Thanks everybody for being here. Have a great evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever you are in the world.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ciao, grazie. Ciao, ciao.
My friends.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.